This is the #1 best thing you can do. Quit.
Huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Owned.tv. Owned is your one-stop shop for all your stream aesthetic needs, whether it be overlays or alerts or panels or whatever. All of Owned's overlays that you're seeing here on the screen are modular, so if you and all your friends pick up the same one, say for example, the new Alpha Gaming overlay that they released in conjunction with this channel, none of you guys are gonna have the exact same overlay because you can pick and choose the different pieces that you want. So if you'd like to make the smart move like many from this community have already done, feel free to use the link in the description below. Pick up your own overlay pack today. By the way, that link helps support the channel, so thank you. And if you'd like 40% of checkoff, feel free to use code ALPHA at checkout.
So Ludwig's a pretty big streamer. It's kind of a big name. People know him. And he did yesterday, 2 days ago. Oh, there it is right there. 2 days ago, he did a stream on how to be a big streamer. He said it was about an hour stream. I haven't seen it yet, but considering how fast he's growing, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. So he's probably knows a little bit what he's talking about. Also, since his main area of growth has been over the last 2 to 3 years, he's not one of these OG streamers. We've done a video on advice given by big streamers before and how it's usually pretty bad because those pieces of advice were from streamers who grew 7 years ago, right? Growing today on Twitch is a completely different area, and Ludwig is a massive streamer, I believe top 100 streamer. And so his advice, well, let's just go into it. Let's just see if it's any good.
All the knowledge I have rolled up into one PowerPoint presentation, and the PowerPoint presentation is called How to Make It Big as a Streamer. Why listen to me? Well, I'll tell you why. Growth.
Music. Wait, is this copyright free music?
I'm now the 42nd biggest streamer on Twitch.tv. Not flexing.
I think that music's okay to put in. No, he's a big streamer. A lot of people see this as a flex when you do stuff like this. No, credentials are important. This is his resume. This is fine. He's not doing anything wrong. This is big though. I don't think people realize it's not just about the amount of viewers he has or the large numbers he has. This is the most important thing. Look at when he grew. Because again, there are a lot of big streamers giving advice for, when they grew back 7 years ago when Twitch was a completely different platform, or even 4 years ago. This was all in the past 2 years. So important.
This is the absolute first question you need to ask yourself. Do you want to be a streamer? Now, maybe on the surface level, you'll be thinking, well, yeah, I want to be a streamer. Are you kidding me? I play video game, make millions of dollars. Every single person who said yes, whether you said it to yourself or you voted, whatever it is, you need to do this right now. Write this down. 3 things. First of all, if you want to be a streamer, when are you going to start? Set a hard start date when you're actually going to start. If you've already started, maybe this is the date that you're going to start your YouTube or start a new series or whatever it is. Just write some date where you're going to start achieving something you've been saying you're going to do. Number 2, write your goals for 1 year out. This can be for the start of 2022, maybe one exact year, maybe a few months. It doesn't really matter. All you need to do is have a set period of time and goals you would like to achieve by the end of that set period of time. And it's okay if you don't have everything figured out. At least write something down that you would like to do. And then the final thing to write down, and this will come up a little bit later, 3 to 5 creators you want to emulate.
So far, I think this is the best advice I've seen any other streamer give. It is actually like actionable things you can do. I'm going to start on this date, so you can prepare to start on that date. You set 1 year goals. Goals are super important. Goals allow you to start moving forward and doing something. And the 3 to 5 creators you want to emulate is a big deal. I have those myself as well. Having creators you look up to that you can refer to and get ideas from and inspiration from is a big deal. There's one thing that I feel like this missed, because I feel like a lot of this is like starting, but not enough of this is direction. If I could add like one more thing to this list, I would say figure out what type of content you want to make. Like have some kind of basic idea, whether that be playthroughs, whether that be tutorials, whether that be some kind of creativity or art like photography. I would put on here, if I were making this list, a basic idea of what kind of content creator you want to be, knowing that it's probably going to change multiple times in the future. But these are going to be very overwhelming if you don't figure out what you're going to start doing. But other than that, very, very good advice. I want to see what kind of goals he talks about, because I think this is a big misstep for a lot of people, what kind of goals they write down.
Here's an example of mine.
Oh, there we go.
I've done this. I know I'm being a bit corny, but this really happened. I did this in 2018. I wrote down all my goals. I didn't actually just do it for stream. I did it at New Year's.
This is actually probably the biggest thing I'm disagreeing with so far. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with like your personal goals and what you want to do, but when I encourage people to set goals, there's something that the majority of people do wrong. And that is they set goals that rely on other people. The most important goals you can set are ones that you are in 100% control of. But when you set goals like how many subs you want, how many followers you want, being able to go full time, which means you need a certain amount of money, those things are very much, they require a third party, right? They require someone to subscribe to you. They require someone to follow you. They require someone else to support you so that you can quit your job. You're not 100% in control of those goals. I would encourage to set goals like post so many videos a week, stream so many days a week, learn a certain skill by this point. By the end of the year, try 6 or 7 different types of content to figure out who I want to be on the internet. All those goals are entirely accomplishable even if nobody else hits the follow button or the subscribe button. I really like this though. I like that he shares like who he looked at and who he wanted to emulate. For me, my big ones are Peter McKinnon, Gary V, MKBHD, maybe a little bit of Casey Neistat and Nade Shot. Like for me, those really fill out the space of the different things that I want to do. And often when I'm struggling for content, when I'm not sure what kind of video I should post next, I'll go and watch, or I'll go through their uploaded videos and see if any of them spark any inspiration.
If you didn't write anything down, but you want to be a streamer, this is the #1 best thing you can do. The absolute only lesson to take away from today if you want to make it big on Twitch. Quit. Quit right now. That is my advice to you.
I should be watching this guy more. I don't know how to say this the right way. Every industry needs a jerk. I've said something similar to this. I don't say if you don't do what I say, quit. He's saying if you don't write down what I'm saying, you should quit. But the principle still stands. And I appreciate that he's willing to say this. I've placed myself in a role of making sure I'm encouraging to as many people as possible. Because who knows, maybe there's someone who's on the verge of quitting that might be an amazing streamer one day. The idea of if you want to be a content creator, the one of the most difficult jobs to actually accomplish, such a small fraction of people actually succeed, and you're not even willing to do this bare minimum, it's not for you. It's not for you. And the principle itself is true. And so I appreciate him pointing this out.
This, just for some reference, is how many hours I work.
So this is what, 50 to 55 hours a week? That's actually really impressive. Most content creators I know can't get away with 50 to 55 hours a week. So good for him for being as efficient as he really is. There's a kind of a joke that I almost tweeted yesterday that's like, it's really cool. Being a content creator is awesome because you get to make your own hours. As long as you schedule every single waking hour that you're alive working. That's the struggle about content creation that I think not a lot of people realize. Every minute you're not working, someone else is, and that person is passing you if you're standing still. There's just like that lurking feeling in the back of your brain at all times.
How do you do it? How do you stream? Well, this is my one advice, my biggest advice. Streams are recordings. That's what it is in 2021. That is the best way you can think about a Twitch stream. YouTube videos have some pros that normal streams, conventional streams don't. YouTube videos have built-in growth mechanics, all right? The algorithm. A YouTube video can pop off. A stream can't really pop off.
See, this is why I brought up that it's super important that he grew in the last 2 years. Ludwig understands growth in the modern era of live streaming, that there is zero discoverability when you're live. It doesn't matter how many platforms you stream to. It doesn't matter how many hours you're live. Nobody is browsing all the way down 300 people, 1,000 people down on a list. When he's going into a section that's called how to stream, and immediately the first slide talks about YouTube videos. versus being live. Let's keep listening.
There's no way for you to know that that is happening, and nobody is digging through the 5,000 zero viewer Andys, one viewer Andys on the just chatting section. So you won't find me. So that's why Twitch fails in that aspect. YouTube doesn't. It's just a fact that VODs are absolutely terrible on Twitch, and I don't see that changing. And so the permanence of a YouTube video means that even if it doesn't do well in the first month, maybe a month or two from now, you'll be able to look back and be like, oh, this video actually did well.
I think he's going to talk about something that I really do feel like I've neglected on this channel. I've done it a couple times, but he's talking about how your streams can be used for YouTube content, which is a very powerful tool. I talk a lot about how you shouldn't do Twitch highlights, but instead your YouTube content should be original content. But there's another way that you can do this, which is streaming your content and planning your live content around making YouTube videos out of it later. He streamed this entire higher low thing. I don't know exactly what higher low is, but he planned this whole stream around the idea, the plan to cut it down and post it on YouTube later, because he understands that you can make good YouTube content out of live content. This is probably how he manages to only work 55, 60 hours a week and still make good YouTube, consistent YouTube, and lots of live streaming content, because he plans his streams around future YouTube videos in order to appeal to all these mechanisms and algorithms that just help you grow so much.
And then finally, every YouTube video is a lottery ticket. Like I said earlier, if you upload a YouTube video, it has a chance to pop off. It really does. If you go live, you're never really going to have that chance to blow up on the stream.
I was wondering what he meant by the lottery ticket, because that's the thing about YouTube, is I feel like it's much less of a gamble than Twitch is. But what he's saying is that every time you upload a YouTube video, maybe you never know what YouTube's algorithm will love. There are hints and you can appeal to it, but he's saying that every single video you post is another chance for a video to take off and give you a lot of growth. That's exactly what my channel was in the very beginning. I posted a ton of videos and then one finally took off. And weirdly enough, after that one took off, a video I posted about 2 months prior then blew up even more than that one that took off. So he's 100% right about this. As you post content and as you work on your titles and your thumbnails, sometimes the YouTube algorithm says that's the video we're going to push today, and that starts your career.
Nobody just blew up out of nowhere overnight on Twitch. YouTube can happen overnight. I mean, literally overnight, you can blow up. And you've seen that time and time again.
What's interesting is how when he's talking about all these people are like, no, what about this person who blew up? What about this person who blew up? Like someone said Corpse. Do you not know how many subscribers Corpse has on YouTube and how many listens his song have on Spotify? You want to know why he blew up on Twitch so fast? It's because of the following he already had and how much he blew up on YouTube and Spotify. He's 100% right.
Collaboration is probably one of the best ways to grow. I am not dumb. I am not oblivious to the fact that
I'm interested to see where he goes with this, because I somewhat disagree, but it's much more nuanced than that. I think people put way too much emphasis on this, and especially if you consider hosts and raids a collab, I think people get the wrong idea about collabs and place way too much emphasis. That's why you get a bajillion small streamers tweeting at big streamers saying, hey, do you want to play games with me? Because they think collaborating with them is going to blow them up. And it just doesn't work like that. So I'm curious to see where he goes with collabs.
Like, yes, you also have to be good. You also have to have a good bedrock of content. It's not as easy as just streaming with someone. Because I promise you, I've streamed with a bunch of people in Among Us who have 15 viewers when we started and have 15 viewers now. You host a 20 viewer Andy, they're not ready for it, they don't have the content for it. You look back a month later, still a 20 viewer Andy.
Okay. So he clarified a little bit, and I still think there's more to it than that. But he did clarify that the collaboration is nothing but exposure. And then after you get after that initial exposure, it is entirely on you to make sure your content keeps people there. However, I feel like his view of collabs is kind of narrow, considering his content has always been very interesting and unique. I see a lot of people collab all the time. I see big PUBG streamers with 2,000, 3,000 viewers stream with medium-sized ones with maybe 300 to 400 viewers, and they play almost every day together. They're both PUBG creators, but that 300 to 400 viewer never gets up to the 3,000 unless they get a raid, and then the next stream they're back down to the 300 to 400. It's an interesting balance between being similar enough that there's cross-pollination while also being different enough that they stand on their own. So it's much more nuanced than just play with people, have content, you grow. Raids and hosts, unless you're big enough to stand on your own and you just haven't gotten the exposure yet that something like Outside Traction can also bring you, raids and hosts do absolutely nothing.
What do you stream? This is a very basic question that people always ask. It's maybe the number one question. Maybe the number one question that I see is, what do you stream, Ludwig?
Yeah, dude, I get that question a lot. Should I stream a big game that's already really saturated, or should I stream a small game that doesn't have as many viewers, but it's easier to be at the top of the list? And my answer is always, that's completely irrelevant. So let's see what he says.
I first and foremost think this question is probably talked about too much. Because as long as you are doing everything in the streams like recordings section, then what you stream isn't as important. You know what I mean? Because you can really make anything work. But there is one thing that I've done that will always work. It's tried and true. This is the number one thing you need to stream to make it big. The yoink and twist, baby. What everybody else is doing. That's right. Yes. Yes, you do not have to read.
There's a yoink and twist.
So I saw, here's one example. This video Soda Poppin did a few years ago.
Oh.
Stream goes shopping for $1,000. You know what he would do in this video?
Okay, so he's saying take ideas that already exist and put your own spin on it, which was kind of covered earlier when he mentioned when you look at content that other people are that you want to emulate, people you look up to and you want to make content like them, you can get ideas from them and you can turn it into your own content, which is 100% valid. It should be the largest source of inspiration for your content. Other people who have done something that work that you can put your own spin, or I guess that's where the twist is. You can put your own twist on. Now, this is 100% true. So he's saying he got the stream idea, the video idea, and then he adjusted the idea that he thought would be a little bit better and more suited for him. And then I'm assuming he was saying you got the thumbnail idea from this Mr. Beast one and you added them together and that made his video, which has almost 600,000 views. No, 100% absolutely do this.
If you want to make it big on Twitch, if you want to be a bigger streamer than me, you're just starting out, you simply have to be better. You have to be a better streamer than I am.
Brilliant.
You need to do it better than me if you hope to get bigger.
It's 100% true. It's 100% true also. There's too many people just sitting there streaming Warzone. And the bottom line is you will never be, if all you're doing is sitting playing games, you will never be better than Shroud. If that's your main draw, people are going to watch Shroud instead. You have to figure out how to be better than everybody else, at least at one thing. If you can figure out how to be better than everyone else at one thing and then surround it with other things that make you fun and unique, that is how you go to the top. You don't have to do that if you just, if your goal is like, hey, I just want to make a living doing that, you don't have to be the best. But if you want to be at the top, you have to do that. And the closer you get to being better than everyone else as someone, the farther you grow.
If you want the nitty-gritty details, I'm not the guy for it. It's things like, what mic do I use? When do I stream? What camera do I use? Do I use a camera? Well, just go to Alpha Gaming on YouTube. That's the one place I've seen. I've read it. I've read it as a small streamer. I've read it as a big streamer. I've watched it. The guy knows what he's talking about. Harris Heller knows his shit. He literally does. If you ever want to know the specifics of weird streaming stuff, that's your guy.
What a nice guy.
Totally your guy. I'm not the best guy for that. No big streamer is, because it's pretty basic info. And